Let's Talk Small Business, the real talk, no BS podcast for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to grow and actually enjoy the ride. I'm Mitchell Wilson. Let's get into it. Frank, welcome.
Mitchell, how are you?
Very good, very good. Hey, I really appreciate having you on here today. And look, let's talk business. So, Frank, let's the overall topic of what we want to talk about today is creating opportunities. That's something that I know you are not only just passionate about, but you live and breathe making things happen. So, look, I know a little bit of your past, but for those listening, first of all, right now, hybrid bikes. It's a success story. Your marketing is fantastic. The bikes are everywhere. But tell us a little bit about you and how we got to owning or creating hybrid bikes and where we're at right now, Frank.
Actually, I never planned to have a business, and I just did a little count. I've been part of 11 businesses, and only 2 of them were planned. So it's that creating opportunity things, you know. I only actually got into business with my first business, which was probably the hardest one because I've never been in business, because work slowed down where I was employed. And I turned into kind of a workaholic in New Zealand, because what I realized is if you don't put in the hard hours, the long hours, you don't get the revenue you need to buy a house and pay it off. So that has grown on me. So I learned very quickly in New Zealand that as harder as you work, eventually more you can achieve and more things you can do. So therefore I was right into the 12, 14-hour day rhythm, and then suddenly work slowed down. And then I thought, I may should look at something different and start my own business. But again, some people look at, I have to find a business where I'm very good at. Somebody's coming.
That's right.
Sorry.
Just hold there.
I can't believe it.
So carrying on, what was that first business?
So when I looked at a business, I thought, God, you can look at, I want to start a business where I'm very good at, but then it's very difficult to find, where you think, gosh, I just start something and learn as I go along. Now, that's what I did, because to find a business I wanted to do in the engineering space would have been, would have been too difficult, I think. But starting something which you can create a passion with, I thought that's a good starting point. And New Zealand, Nelson, got a lot of sun. So I decided solar water heating would be a good thing. And then I can incorporate my engineering skills into it. And then both, that idea was born. But so you got the idea, but you have to get it off the ground. And I think,
Because, yeah, I mean, lots of people have ideas every single day, but it's the execution that counts, doesn't it?
yeah. And the hardest part was that the idea had to be established in China, because they were the leading manufacturers for solar water heating. But where do you start? You know, I didn't know anybody. How many people know people in China? You know, so I just randomly went onto my old desktop and typed in, there's Alibaba was existing then in 2003. And I just typed in solar water heating and blah, blah, blah. And you had 1,000 companies showing up, and you think, God, so how do I select those ones? And I went like the biggest company based on employees, a medium one and a small one. Just I thought I need to have some selection criteria. So, and then I contacted them, and I thought, well, let's see who's prepared to work with me, because I knew what I get sent is probably not up to where I would like to be, but it's fine. It's a foundation to build on. And only the middle one said, yeah, hey, Frank, if you want to come across, then let's come. And we start having conversations. So I went to Nelspec, got my little flip Hyundai phone, went to Kmart, got some clothes, had a little suitcase, and then off I went, you know. And that's how that venture kind of started. But what happened then is I really started to love that entrepreneurship. On one hand, you're responsible for everything, but on the other hand, you're on the steering wheel for destination success, hopefully. So it's kind of a wicked roller coaster because you got so many setbacks, and then you have a little high again and a low. But I think that drives entrepreneurs, that going through that roller coaster, that always being on the edge of creating something new. Oh, shit, it's actually not that good. Blah, blah, blah. But that's what I did. I just went in, bang, with everything I had, thrown all the money in it I had, and went into my first business.
Did you feel that was a big risk at that time, just to put all your money down on the table for something in China to make this?
I poured in everything I had. I mean, the first thing was a massive learning curve, because not only financially, but also legally. Because as soon as I started the business, I got sued from somebody local who had a lot of pleasure in actually dragging me through the legal system, because he didn't want me to establish a business because he had one. And in New Zealand, if you got a lot of money, maybe that changed since then, but if I got a lot of money and I don't like your face, I can throw so many lawyers until you run out of money and you have to shut down. It's bad that it was that way, but unfortunately, I had the backing of somebody who paid my legal bills so that I didn't run out of money. So it was very, very good that I had that. Without that backing, which I think not many people have, I would have gone under, and he had the last laugh, and I would have lost everything, but I didn't. And so
was that backing? Was that a friend or family, or how were you?
That was family. Yeah. They said, "Well, we don't want to see you fail because we can see it's none of your fault, and let's make sure that bastard doesn't get away with it." And we did, and it actually ended that basically. We then we said to him, like, you dragging that out and out and out. You want to run me dry. I take you to court now. And one day before the court case, his lawyer called me and says, well, if you don't sue us now, we don't sue you and we forget all about it. And I said, you're lucky, because if I had more money, I probably would sue you now. But ultimately, it just went off in thin air.
Now, I think a lot of entrepreneurs go through a lot of battles in the beginning, and it may not be through law, but there are so many battles, and I kind of find it's actually those ones that just don't give up that get through that. Do you have a feeling about sort of that business journey for people?
Yeah, I think maybe the people who give up is they have no other choice, because who likes to give up? But sometimes you have no other choice. If you got to giving up, sometimes mean you have no money left. And then you have to say, if you have a house, do you want to put a house on the line? Or you think, well, bugger it, I start something else. I don't know. Thanks God, I didn't have to make that decision. And I'm glad I didn't have to make that decision, because it would have been even more difficult. It cost me sleepless nights. It cost me a lot of mental stress, which was terrible. You just started up with a business, and then you get something you have not done nothing wrong with it, and then you get those legal letters. But thanks God, it took 2 years, and we got over that, and then we started to really ramp it up and get into it. But the thing is, you get tougher as you go along. You don't get bullied around as much anymore. You think, well, next time I would approach that differently. But at that time, I was vulnerable. I was like, gosh, when you get legal letters, you're always thinking the worst. I don't know if somebody looks, oh, here's a legal letter. Ooh. I don't think everybody thinks like it. You think, God, what do they want from me? What can they take from me? What have I done wrong? But anyway, it took 2 years, and we got rid of him. And then we had never had, in that business, never had another stone in our way. We could really go for it.
And like you said, you're tougher for it now.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Like somebody, a year later, somebody from the UK said, I'm coming to New Zealand now, and I've started a company with your company name. And I said, no, you're not. He said, I'll be very rich. and we come and we just roll you over because we have that company name in the UK. Oh, well, then come and bring it on. He never came. But you think differently. You don't, if you got bullied once, next time you get tougher and you don't bend over if somebody says, I want to get you. You say, well, then bring it on and see what you got. And he never did. It was just another little bluff from somebody thinking as soon as he says, I'm very rich, that everybody thinks, oh, sorry, I give up. No, I don't. No.
So you haven't given up. You've grown this business. Where did that lead to? Yeah, where did that solar business lead to?
The solar water was very exciting because the boss of the company was very open. He saw my passion to create something really, really good. And of course, it meant that when I create value in the product, the arrangement was, well, you can use my input in your products as well and improve your range, which you sell to around the world. And so he was very happy with that. So I had free hand to, all the changes I wanted to do didn't cost me anything. He implemented them at his cost. I mean, how good is that? Actually, that led to the first opportunity. All right. Because I went there to design my own solar water heating collector with him. And that became the highest efficient solar water heating collector in New Zealand, tested in Nelson by ECA, the energy people from the government. Mm-hmm. Fantastic, So, and as this all developed and I had a really good collector, and I started to engage a lot more with the staff in China. Like I did several trips over here, like 2-3 a year minimum. And then Mr. Wu, who was the owner, he says, hey, do you want to help my staff a little bit? And I said, in which way? Communication and stuff. And I said, what are they doing? Are they not good with getting international customers? Can you help them a little bit? So I sat next to one. I said, okay, let's see what you're doing. And I think I don't know where they picked it up, but when they had an inquiry from somebody from around the world, they replied, g'day, mate. I can't believe it. Sorry.
We'll pause it there.
Nobody's come. Yeah. So he said, I help my people a little bit. So I said, that's fine. And so I sat next to one and I seen he got international emails coming in. And what he did, he replied with, g'day, mate. And I said, where did you pick that up? I seen that. I said, that may be okay if you know somebody, but you don't know that. That's hello, sir, or Mr. politely, not g'day, mate. That's not on, not at that level. Oh, yes. So we went through all the things, Mm-hmm. Sales, we created flyers. So basically, that little thing turned into the opportunity to be their global sales and marketing director. Just because their staff needed some training and I loved it, Mm-hmm. So the deal was I got paid X and I could come to China twice a year, all paid for. And at that time I could develop my own product. So it was really an opportunity which I couldn't turn down.
Yeah, and you created that opportunity from...
And that opportunity was a challenge because the first time I worked with Chinese staff, So it really was amazing. And then as we worked further on this one, I then started, or had inquiries about my business, and I started to sell that to Stephen Tyndall's K1W1 investment arm. Because they wanted to form that solar city and they needed to have established companies in it. And my luck was that I installed the largest solar water heating collector system in New Zealand at that time. And I had the highest performing collector. So that was a recipe for being attractive enough for them to buy me out.
How did you feel at that moment when you did sell?
Well, it had... I didn't want to just sell it. There had to be a clause in it, which people see I'm not just running away with the dosh. And that was, and Mr. Tyndall and all the people honored it, which was fantastic. Because up to the sales date, I still kept selling products, And then if somebody takes over, normally they don't want to buy liabilities. They want to buy all the assets of a company, but not the liability. But it wasn't going to happen. The liabilities were, you have to honor the warranties of every person who bought a collector. And it wasn't as favorable at the beginning, but it was part of the deal. The business couldn't be sold without that clause in it. So, they obviously wanted the business because they accepted the clause. And I think a lot of people were thankful that it didn't do the runner, because when they had something wrong with it, they got it fixed under the warranty. So years later, when people then heard that I do solar PV systems or hybrid bikes, they came and they bought a bike because they knew that I would look after them. So that was a clause which I felt really good about, and which a lot of people who had problems within their warranty were happy about, that I got looked after, that I didn't do just take the money and run. So it was perfect. And that's again a value to your customers, that you look after them.
So I think that's a really good segue to look into hybrid bikes now, the latest business, the latest opportunity that you've created. So How did this come about? What's the journey from having this idea in your head to creating a bike company?
Yeah. The thing is, I had a year off between businesses because I had cancer, and I had to recover, and I had to sort of clear my head. And I had that little project of building an energy positive house. Well, I didn't build it, but I had that in mind that I wanted one. So I took a year off and did very little. And then when I got back on board, and I thought, okay, so what do I do next? I didn't really had an idea at that time. All the challenges I had in between, but then they're all way done, kind of thing. And I had nothing up my sleeve. So I thought, what do I do next? And I watched so many programs. I thought, what is the latest thing going? What do I want to let myself into? But I couldn't pick anything, And then I thought, okay, I might work for somebody. Maybe somebody says, hey, Frank, your drive would be very good in my business. You may take one of my ideas to another level. But there was no opportunity really for me to grab. So I sat there and I had a bit of a downer where I questioned my own ability to do things, because I thought others would say what I had done. But then I've been part of 8 companies, People could say, I'm not a talker, I'm a doer, but still no opportunity. And that made me think, God, maybe I'm actually nowhere near as good as I thought I would be. But anyway, you had to get over this, and you had to move on thinking, okay, I have to do something myself. Again, it's very clear. So I looked, what do I do? And then, because we live on top of a hill, and I had to get up there. And how do I get up there? With a normal bike? No, car, electric bike would be good. So I looked around and I thought, might as well get one. But again, I didn't want to have a Torpedo 7 bike, but I didn't want to spend $60,000, $70,000 on the Specialized either. So I thought, well, I got time, I got all the connections, might as well do one myself. I have no clue about cycling, nothing. So that was the biggest punt I ever took. But I thought, well, might as well go for it. And there were a lot of hurdles, because the thing is, I just didn't have the skills, but I still wanted to pursue it and do it, So I did a lot of research. And then when I had an idea and I had a bike ready to go, I still had to validate my idea. So I traveled around New Zealand to bike shops, and I showed them what I wanted to do. Just to say, because like in so many cases, you're the designer, but you're not the buyer. So if you love it, it doesn't mean the rest of the world's going to love it. So you have to be realistic and take the feedback on from people who are potential buyers, regardless of you love it. But the feedback was good. People thought, well, that bike could be a winner because there's nothing like that in carbon fiber in New Zealand. So you have a point of difference. I didn't know what my target market was at the time. That developed later on, but positive feedback. So we pushed a button and we went for it. Now, this was by far the biggest punt I ever took because it drained 90% of my savings. So if that would have failed, I would have been in deep trouble. But the validation, I felt good enough that it would be successful. The risk analysis plan was if it doesn't sell for what I would like it to sell for, I sell it at cost and I lose half the money, but I'm not broke. So you have to have a backup plan. You have to think about that because sometimes you are a bit in dreamland when you start something. And then when reality hits you, you need to be prepared for it. And I was. And thanks God, we didn't have to go down that alley. And we just kept mucking around and designing bikes. And then...
How long did it take you from that initial idea of not being able to get up the hill home to the reality of I've got a design and validation? What length of time was that you went through?
Say from the idea to having one in the garage was 15 months.
Which is quite fast to actually have a prototype, isn't it?
Well, because the thing is, I didn't create it from nothing. I looked at what is going, what do people like. So I looked and I thought if I can get a geometry of one bike and turn it into a carbon version and select the motor I want on it. So I had a foundation. I just had to tweak it to make it mine. It's not some people create something out of nothing and there's no guidelines, no nothing. It wasn't like that. But I still wasn't really sure that what I'm doing will be good. But I had a gut feeling said, well, it could be a winner. So 15 months later, we had the first one. And when we had the first one, which was the high bar one, so a man's version, then I got challenged, where's the ladies one? Because mum wants one, dad wants one. So I had to come up with one of those. So we had to really, every time we done one, it was a risk. But the risk got less and less because the next range we did was based on the first one, just again tweaking it. So we didn't go out with a complete new design like we did with the full suspension ones and the other ones later on. But I tried to play it safe, but even safe was a risk.
How many did you bank on selling? Like originally, how many did you?
The first year we only sold one container, 56. Mm-hmm. And then it started to get more and more and more because you brand, like, I think what attracted when Seven Sharp was here and filmed us here, the attraction was that the little guy in his garage taking on the big guys. And the big guys are the only guys which do carbon fiber. So because the enormous cost. So suddenly there's that fella out of his shed who isn't even a cyclist taking on the big guys. And that's what I did. So this got that marketing ball rolling because that's the harder thing. Frank who? Hybrid who is he? Has he sold anything? Are they any good? Is he around there for another year? All those questions pop up. So you have to prove yourself. So that we had TV here and winning all those business awards and being in all the papers under the sun, that was very helpful at the beginning to give people the brand awareness, And then, of course, working 7 days a week, answer the phone at any given time, if it's like 6 a.m. or 9 p.m., to show the people I'm here to stay and I got your back. Again, just like solar water heating, there were 13 different companies, and then Frank comes on the scene. So how do you stand out? The products are very similar. What can you do better? Prices? Well, you can only go so low. So service. People love good service. But it means a lot of effort. You have to sort of give your time to customers instead of spending time with the family. But ultimately, people love that convenience to pick up the phone at any given time if they got a question. Others didn't do that. not to that extent. 5 o'clock, bang, done. No, I didn't care. So, and I do that the same with the hybrid bikes as well. If you got a problem, ring me. If you buy a bike from a dealer, don't worry, you can ring me because you got my name on your bike. It means I'm responsible for it. I'm there for you. Some people tested me on a Sunday. I just want to see if you answered the phone. Yes, I did, didn't I? Oh, great. Hung up. Didn't actually have a question. But hey, that's fine. I said I do it, and I do it. But it's just finding your niche of being different in a good way, of creating a brand. And as you know, to create a brand takes years. But that TV Kickstarter certainly helped the brand. Like after that, we've been in the Cure magazine, 3 full pages. I don't know many companies who ever had 3 full pages in the Cure magazine. We did it. So people reading it on the plane, and then they just landed, and I can hear on the phone, they're still at the airport. Oh, can we come and have a look at your bikes? And then said, delayed, and they're still at the airport.
Was that paid? Did you pay for that advertisement
No,
there, or they come and interviewed you?
I was in China, and then somebody rang from Cure magazine and says, "Oh, you want to be in our magazine?" And I just about swallowed something. I would love to. It's amazing how things fell into place, And I think I was lucky. Some people say, "Well, you're very lucky." Actually, you need that portion of luck, and then you have to make something from it. Like Michael Holland, when he said, "Okay, now we got the ball rolling, make sure you don't lie back, keep pushing," and I sure did. There is no lying back. If you're lucky and you have an opportunity once again, then make the most of it. And that led into this opportunity and that and that and that. So it's kind of amazing, what the people you can meet along the way, the opportunities you can take advantage of, the skills you're going to learn. Because with every challenge, you learn new skills because you have to overcome that challenge. So, and then skills as power. If you know more, you can execute better. You can make better decisions. So that's why I chase opportunities, because every time I get a little bit smarter, I learn a little bit more, and I be a little bit better in my next opportunity, what I learned from the previous one.
So if you were to go back and tell the Frank that started to be an entrepreneur some advice, what do you think that advice would be?
I actually would make him aware that you should be more aggressively investing into opportunities, which I did and I didn't. Some I just flew by, worked a little bit in it, and left it again. Then I'm looking back, I'm thinking, I should have been a bit more involved. But I had so many ongoing things that I didn't really have the time. But some opportunities, I should have dug deeper, and I should have been a partner in it because they were enormous, But then I seen the other opportunity, and I thought, oh, that's even better. And I let that go and went to this one. So yeah, just really follow those opportunities up and try to be part of it, engage in it, and not chase every single one you find, which I did. And it wasn't a fault because it got me where I am now. But if I slowed down a little bit, I probably would have been even better off.
Now, you talked before about ultimate customer service, okay? Always there, always answering the phone. We've got to admit, like on this podcast right now, you've actually already ducked out a couple of times. We've stopped and started this video. So that's amazing that you're still doing that today. In saying that, from when you started that business up until today, let's say, because it's been a number of years, is there a point where you can slow down that commitment, like the seeds that you've planted have grown, or are you just full on all the time?
I tell you that I had a mini stroke 6 months ago, and I think that made me realize that I'm not bulletproof. There is a time, I'm doing it for 21 years now like that. And I just love doing it. But again, I put myself out there and I stretch myself to the limit. And this year, it's the first time, like some people in the winter, they think, oh, I just go away now. And I put a phone message on it, I'm gone for 3 weeks or whatever. And I could not do that. I could not just close the garage and disappear. But this year, with a backup plan, we just go out and have a week holiday in the middle of winter in New Zealand, winter, where you got the least amount of customers and the phone will be on. So the customer service online is still happening. But I'm thinking the world doesn't stop when I have a week holiday, which is unusual for me. The only holiday I get is actually business trips to China or to Germany or something. But this year, it's the first time I actually spend a week away with my wife and charge the batteries. And if somebody needs me urgently, they can ring me and I will be answering the phone because I'm just over the ditch. But this year is basically where I start to realize I need to look after myself a little more because ultimately, something worse could happen to me. I walked away from that mini stroke unharmed, but I walked away from my cancer, luckily. So I'm not a cat and I can't push my luck all the time. And I should realize that. And I have to action a little bit of quality time as well.
You're clearly an entrepreneur and you've taken some big risks and a lot of those have paid off. But any entrepreneur's journey, and I know you're the same, you went through those challenges as well, like the legal battle and all the rest that you said that you've had. The journey, was it worth it?
Yes. It fulfilled, like somebody says, oh, if you would die tomorrow, you haven't really done a lot. He meant a lot of seeing the world, having fun with the family and all those kind of things, which, I mean, what is happiness? How do you describe happiness? Or I'm happy in my space. That is my world. You know, when one of my birthdays, my daughter gave me a coffee cup, and it says, it's Frank's world. We just live in it. You know, and it's kind of, I'm very lucky that my family let me do what I love doing. That is what I love. So, no, I haven't seen a lot, but I've done a lot, which makes me happy. You know, and that is basically my life. But the thing is, the new venture, and I started another business, and this could be the one which will disengage me from being here all the time, because that's the thing. I have to be here 7 days a week, kind of, because I'm working from home, and I like to change that of giving me the freedom to work from anywhere, and I don't have to be at home all the time. It makes my business a lot more resilient, especially now in the economy, which is not doing too well for retail. I'll be more resilient because I haven't got the overheads of staff and retail places and everything. But again, I always have to be here. People expect me to be here. I like to change that with the next business where I can be somewhere else or be available on the phone or on the computer, but in person, I don't have to be home at all the time. So it means I can have a little bit more freedom. I can have a little bit more fun with the family. I think if I can achieve this, I'll already be a winner in my book, because I've freed myself up from being here all the time. And that makes my wife a lot happier, because then we can do more things together, you know. So there's still improvements I'm in the making.
I love that you're already thinking about your next business. You did talk about the economy, though, and that it has slowed down. As that roller coaster goes, you also had the hybrid bikes. You said you had a couple of wins, being, the TV interviewed us. We're in the Courier magazine on Air New Zealand. But also, come COVID time, was that boom time? Because everyone must have wanted an e-bike.
That was boom. Oh, yes, that was great. And I think we capitalized in that one that helped us to wickedly grow the brand and bank money, which we kept in the bank. We didn't actually spend like some others. They thought, well, COVID will never end. and money keeps flowing in like an endless river. Well, of course, it didn't happen. It just suddenly stopped. But again, we've been smart enough to not splash out, to really keep grounded and put funds aside for the next development, for rainy days. But it was epic. And when you look back now, oh my God, you know how it went. And it doesn't matter what retail business you've been in. I think you could sell ice to Eskimos at that given time. They would have bought it. You know, it was amazing. But it's over. The reality hit. What you've been flying, and now you've been scraping down the bottom of the barrel, and then you have to come up again, and it hasn't normalized yet. So we in the e-bike world, we're still down. So we had 2 years of up, now 3 years of down. So it has to come up somewhere and be really fun times again. You know, right now it's not. You hang in there, but again, hanging in there means you got spare time. Spare time got me to the next business because you have that opportunity. How many times do you have time to look at something else because you're so tied to your business? Now I have. So dangerous. You know, I got spare time. So here we go, dive into the next business. You know, I've done 3 trips to China in 6 months to actually develop the next idea. We're getting very close now. So it's very exciting. So here we go. You turn a Lego business into another opportunity. Let's see where that leads us. But always keep an eye on the bike business, but use the free time to be productive in something else rather than worrying about things. I hate worrying. I want to be positive. So here we go. So I just create a positive challenge for another business.
What would you say to someone who is in their business right now, but it may be that the economy's down compared to where it used to be in their particular industry? There are always opportunities like within those businesses and outside of that business as well. But what advice would you give to someone in that situation?
I think they have to, like retreat, and we dived right into our business now and looked at everything. What do we need to do to be more resilient financially? You know, what overheads have we got which we don't really need right now? You know, like we spend a lot of money on marketing. It's winter now. Over the last few years, we just let it run, you know. But now we're thinking, well, let's cut back. If people don't want to buy a particular product or whatever, and you put it 10 times in front of them, if they don't want to buy it, they don't want to buy it. Let's put it 2 times in front of them that they know you're still around. And the 8 times you don't put it in front of them, put that money aside. Just look at your business a bit deeper and see, well, how can I become more resilient? And then what values could I add to my business? Is it another service I never had time to focus on? Or is it another product? And you might add more accessories, which is low cost. But sometimes you can't do that because you cash strapped. So you basically, because you haven't got enough sales right now, so you can't invest money in something else because you have to monitor your bills. So that situation is different from business to business. You know, we're just lucky we can do it, but others may not so lucky, you know. So, but really, you have, if times are tough, it means go on your computer, go on Zero, and break all your running costs down and see where can you make save. There's always something you don't need, for sure, you know. And if you can shave 30% off, that 30% more for your next month bills you got to pay. So
that sounded really good, Frank. Is there like a mantra or something that you always lead by in business when you're looking at opportunities? Is there something that you're like, this has to be the case? I know this next business you're looking at, hey, I want to make sure I do a business model where I'm not so tied down in, let's call it retail space.
Yeah.
But like when you're looking at business ideas and opportunities, what makes you think, is it just the product, or is it the industry, or is it what is it that you're looking for in these opportunities?
I'm a product person. I wish I would be more of a tech person or something, because I probably would have got a lot further. But hey, you go with what your passion is. So I would look at new product ideas perhaps. And then I would look at because you have to add value to it. I wouldn't just jump into another opportunity, so what do I do with that? Every opportunity was a challenge, but I could see what I could gain from it, So it's very important that I find something I can add value and can walk away with the financial game is great, but also skills or people along the way, So yeah, there has to be a gain with every opportunity before I take it on.
You talked about that word passion for a business, but you also told me you had no idea about bikes or biking. Was there still a passion in that business?
Yeah, well, because that was the passion. Yes, it was. It was a lot more challenging, but it was, every business I had was a big passion. You talk to any of my customers ever who dealt with me, I don't do anything half-ass. I'd be full in, 110%. Now, I have to create that passion to create the nicest bike I can have, the best performing one. I work so hard in working out how can I make it better performing? How can I create a better geometry on my frame? So that passion is always of doing it better than somebody else. Okay, I get up at 5. Some people still roll around another couple of times because when I get up at 5, I can start work at 5:30. So I've already done 2 hours of work before somebody even gets out of bed. So it's 10 hours a week. I'm ahead. But if I wouldn't love what I'm doing, I probably wouldn't. I need to have that passion to get me out of bed thinking, or when I go to bed, I think, oh God, what do I do tomorrow? Which maybe gets me another step closer to something. The brain is always ticking. It never stops. There could be Sunday. I can still get up at 5 on Sunday because it's in me to get up. I don't know. It's just that mad thinking of what can I do next? How can I be better than the day before?
Engineer, inventor, product designer, entrepreneur. What would you classify yourself as if someone asked you?
A driven individual. Because that should wrap it up. Sometimes people think I'm very smart. I don't think I'm very smart. I make that up with passion and drive. What I'm not really good at, I just have to work harder on it. Some people are very good at that, do it like this. If I'm not like that, I just have to put extra effort in to come closer to like that type of thing. Everybody's different. My son is a lot smarter than me. He had an engineering degree with first class honors. My daughter is a chartered accountant. They're all smarter than me, so I have to make up with working harder on it.
I love it. Hey, listen, if I was to buy a hybrid bike today, where would I buy one?
Come up to Marston Valley, 12 Woolshed Drive.
In Nelson,
or give me a call, 027 544 3213, and we arrange a meeting. And then we got a whole range of bikes here, and they're all slightly different from standard cruisers to hardtail mountain bikes to full suspension bikes to cargo bikes. We've got a whole range there. So we have a good chat because that's how it all started, with 15-20 minute chat that I can understand what you're after. And then we can custom design a bike just for you.
And you sell right around New Zealand as well?
Yeah. We got about 4,000 in New Zealand. And now we're lucky that after 6 years, there's always somebody who knows somebody who got a hybrid. So there's always, I heard it from a mate or see it from a mate and he's very happy and blah, blah, blah. Like when you look at our Google reviews, they're all 5 stars because that's what you get if you work 7 days a week and you never let somebody down.
I love it.
Big price to pay, but rewarding.
Frank, it's been all about creating opportunities. You certainly have done so in your life, and it doesn't stop. I can't wait to hear about the next big thing, and really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Frank. let's talk small business. I appreciate you tuning in. If you got value, hit subscribe, like, or drop a comment. It spreads the word and might just help another legend get their breakthrough.